The year is almost over. So let me ask you this. Do you have your financial roadmap ready for Q4 and beyond? Here's a reality check for you. The majority of business owners are not operating from any sort of financial roadmap. They're just winging it and hoping that it all works out. Where do you fall? So let's think about what we can do right now to make sure that you have that roadmap in place so that you are making decisions based on data and smart financial guidance rather than just winging it and see what, hoping that everything works out. A lot of business owners think that if your sales are strong, you have money flowing in, that means you're profitable. And actually, a lot of big businesses fail because they're not watching their profit. They're just watching the cash flow. And I'm sure, honestly, you've probably heard this, how did that business fail? They did $10 million in revenue. Well, that's because they had $12 million in expenses. And that means that businesses will fail faster if they're not watching their finances. So here's what I want to do in order to help you create that financial roadmap that you can work from. So step one is you're going to need to review your year-to-date financials. I like to look at them on a month-over-month basis. And if you have them, look at last year's too, because that can help you project. If you have a seasonal business, are you going to run into some problems? Is the slow season still coming up? Or are you through it? It will help you just kind of guide you through where are we at and what's coming up. So you'll want to review your total expenses versus your total revenue. Figure out what your profit percentage is. The other thing that you're going to want to do, try to figure out what are your most profitable services or products. And we have other videos on that to show you how to dive in on a product by product basis to see what is more profitable. But you want to do a whole business analysis and look and see, do you have product lines that are just completely not profitable? Or are you offering a service that actually takes you way more time than you're even charging for? Those are the kind of things that you want to look at and see what you can get rid of. 2, you want to set clear revenue and profit goals for Q4. And this is one of those things that we talked about winging it. Don't wing it. You want to make sure that you have a goal in mind monthly and quarterly. And then you can break those down into what are your weekly and daily goals as far as revenue, and figure out where you're on track and where you're way off pace. So once you have that revenue target in mind, you also want to have a profit margin goal in mind. That's the money that you get to keep. That's the fun part, right? So make sure that you have, if your revenue goal is $100,000 for this Q4, then do you want to keep $20,000 of that? That's a 20% profit margin. Figure out what your industry standard is or what your historical profit margin has been. If you're happy with what you're making, then just project based on where you were already at. But if you want to make more, that's where you're going to be able to really dive into the details and see where you can cut things or where you can expand on things to make sure that your profit margin is what you want. So step 3 is you're going to look at your expenses and improve your cash flow. So your expenses are things that over time, we just slowly start to add expenses to the business and see if there's an extra software that's only $20 a month. Sure, we'll buy it. It's not that much, but those things can add up really quickly. It can also look at who do you have on your team? Is there anybody that is not pulling their weight? Is there a new hire that needs to be made in order to make everybody more productive? Sometimes people are just overloaded with work and they can't actually move forward, get you an ROI because they're so bogged down in the day-to-day that it's hard to make the business move forward. 4, on what you want to do. We are in Q4 planning for taxes. This is really where you're going to want to dive into the deep dive on taxes and know what is going to come up in that April meeting with your accountant. Also meet with your accountant before April. But this is where at this point, 2 to 3 quarters worth of revenue that you can look and see where your profit is at. You can start planning for any major purchases that you need to make in Q4 in order to reduce your tax liability. If you need to start saving for some taxes, this is the time to start. But really Q4 brings you full circle back to this is the time to make a plan to make sure that tax appointment isn't going to kill you. Last step, we're in Q4. We're going to look at Q1. It may seem like it's a ways off right now, but Q3, Q4 leads right to Q1 and we're back to the beginning. So make sure that you have a long-term plan and that you are not just jumping from one revenue to the next, and having a plan in place will really solidify that roadmap and help you figure out what needs to be done to get you to your goals. So now that you have your financial roadmap in place, let's talk about one more major way to save money before the year ends. Let's talk about tax deductions that you can take advantage of right now that could save you thousands. In the next video, we'll tell you how to maximize those tax advantages to take advantage of them right now to help your year-end financial planning.